to the Rainbow Six Siege Sweden Major. My name is Jess Goat, and I'm joined by, yet again, my main man, Fresh, who will join me for most of today, with Milosh switching out here and there.
He is here.
He is going to be doing desk-related duties. We put him on the desk as well. He knows a lot about the game, so don't worry. But speaking of the game, our very next game here on the A stream is going to be FaZe Clan going up against Oxygen. And we have a lot to say about both of these teams because there's been a lot that has gone on both in the last 24 to 48 hours and beyond. So there are storylines galore. Let's probably start off with team number one, however. Let's talk about FaZe Clan, the Latin American team who is making waves in their region at the moment. And they're going to be headed by Astro, Cameraman, Cyber, Bullet, and Souls. And I mean, my man Cameraman, he's been here from the beginning.
This organization has been in every event ever, apart from Mexico. They didn't attend Mexico, so it's somewhat of a redemption curve for FaZe Clan. They've got a point to prove. You see their first place. Second overall in BR6, they went on to win Copa Elite 6 against Team 1, who we could talk about how Team 1 were potentially hiding stuff in that final.
Sure.
But you've got to beat what's in front of you, and that's exactly what FaZe did. And just look at those player cards.
I wanted to point out the players because are they not the coolest and slickest players? You got nothing on them. They wear the coolest clothes.
I was about to say
They shop at the best shops. They party at the best parties.
And it's the FaZe merch as well. All the Marvel merch and stuff as well. It's so good. This roster is truly, I genuinely think this roster is a dark horse to this competition. And I say this because they've got a 7-map pool.
Wow.
They're coming into it in form. The attack win percentage, 60%. Defense win percentage, 65%. They'll play any map, they'll play any position, and they will just go for it. And look at those jerseys. They are so nice. Sorry, I'm a bit of a simp.
Whoa, do you want one of these jerseys?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
FaZe Clan, are you hearing us right now? The desk needs a jersey each. So yeah, you know where to find us on Twitter to send those on through. But outside of the cool looking merch, you can look as fly as you want, but you also have to be able to do the business inside of the server. You can't just look good, you also have to play good. And I wanted to point out the last time I watched FaZe, some of the most incredible attacks with the Capitao, for example. On Coastline was one of my favorites, double window plants that they were pulling off left, right, and center. They're a team that I think on their attack can be really diverse.
And the Capitao is a huge point because we've not yet alluded to this on the desk, but Capitao has 2 hard breach gadgets. 2 hard breach gadgets are in play now, which we didn't see through most of the domestic season. FaZe are already incredible with that operator. So if you want an expectation of what teams will ban against FaZe, I predict that there'll be a lot of Capitao bans against them.
Sure.
We're going back into that kind of meta. But that's that's interesting is because we don't really see a lot of Capitao.
Sure, yeah.
How good Capitao is, we don't see a lot of Capitao, especially across Europe and APAC North. So it'll be interesting to see if it's let through. They are so good with that operator.
Well, we were just spending the past few minutes talking up FaZe through and through, but their opponents will be Oxygen Esports, reigning from the North American region, and unfortunately, due to the last 24 to 48 hours with one of their key players, Foxay, being unable to fly due to testing positive before boarding, and of course, all of the safety protocols put in place means their coach and manager hopes will be the one to step in and play in his stead, and that is a tall order for a coach. I know I've done it before in less intense situations than an entire major. That's a lot of pressure on his shoulder and a lot of pressure on the other players.
It is as well, and it's worth saying is that Kino and Yoga are also playing from the hotel as close contacts. Kino. So there's only 3 players here on site. It's somewhat of an online game, I guess. It's not actually on LAN because they'll be playing from the hotel. So it's going to be a struggle for Oxygen. There are just no doubts about that. We can't
sugarcoat it? Yeah.
Thank you, I was trying to find the words. We can't sugarcoat this. I think the best hope that Oxygen have is go into a map where it requires less thinking. So I'm thinking no bank, I'm thinking no villa, thinking no cafe. Try and get yourselves on a coastline, a clubhouse, a Oregon, for example. And what most interests me is how will they change Laxing's playstyle in particular?
Correct.
Is he going to be the one that spends more time doing team-based activities? Because he gets a lot of freedom in this roster when Fox is around. Because Fox isn't there, are they going to let him lurk more, do what he wants more to try and capitalise on those opportunities? Or are they going to rein him right back in and make him play with the team?
There has been a lot of discussion, even with hysterics from Invictus Gaming, I want to say, who wasn't able to come due to his national service. There was a lot of conversation about what does a team do when one of your crucial players cannot play and you don't get a lot of notice for it. What they've turned around and said, well, because they have gig in place, they're actually going to try and play a little bit more free. Is that the key to being able to do the best you can when you're down a man, when you're not at full force?
Particularly the Invictus one, they haven't planned for this. They've had a plan in place for this.
A redundancy.
They've had a week, Gig has been scrimming on 190 ping. These guys found out when they were traveling that they weren't going to play with a full roster.
Yeah.
So it's not even like they potentially even had this plan in place. They might have spoke about it briefly, but apart from that, they're just going to have to play what they see.
So to remind you, as Fresh said before, only Laxing and his teammate Vertical will be here with us in this building. The rest will be at the hotel, I believe, is my understanding.
I think Hopes is here as well.
Okay, and he's just not seated.
Yeah, I think he's on the left.
Either way, we'll only have a few of the players, with a couple of them playing from the hotel. So if you see the vacant seats, don't worry, they will be in there, they will be playing, and they will be getting down to business. We need to know which map we're going to, because it's going to be crucial. You pointed it out before. Go to somewhere that you're not going to have to use too much of your teamwork, too much coordination, and too much synergy. And that battleground is going to be Bank. You told me you didn't want them to go there. Why?
Well, it's FaZe's #1 map preference for one. FaZe are incredible on this map. They've got about a 60% round win rate on this map. It's their most favored map. And also, just because of how big it is, we saw how much difficulty Dark Zero had against Vitality in the B stream, in the game before this. Clearing, it took a lot of coordination, and Dark Zero with a full strength roster failed. So if FaZe are really competent on the roaming and just isolating the gunfights, it becomes quite hard for Oxygen to actually clear the map, and it's just a lot of space to clear.
Bit of a shame that, unfortunately, we will have to go to one of the best maps here for FaZe. Oxygen already down a man, and now they're going to have to climb Mount Everest to be able to dig their way through this very first map. You can see all the players now seated in their seats, ready to go. A couple of talks happening in that bomber jacket. We could do with one of those bomber jackets too.
Yeah.
Jersey, bomber jacket. Yeah, FaZe Clan's hearing us, don't worry. We know they're out there listening right now, and they know exactly how to contact us. There is the man of the hour. However, the man who has to step in to some very big shoes.
Some coaches have stepped in successfully. Dizzle stepped in some Pro League finals. Hyperino, my main man, he played EU League on the last game.
And he was the highest rated player.
He was the highest rated player in EU League.
Yep, there you go.
2020. So coaches can step in, but obviously it's not ideal. And they're losing such a key player in Foxay as well.
Yeah, one of the leaders of the group, one of the players that has been around for, God, as long as I can remember in the North American scene, seen some of the biggest stages around the world. Unfortunately, won't see this one, so it is going to have to take some extreme leadership here from the squad to be able to do it. I actually feel like they have a good chance of doing this. I'm not going to lie to you.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a risk for FaZe here, because FaZe should come out and win comfortably, right? They're against a team where 2 players aren't on site. One of the players that is on site is a coach, and they should roll them. But it's a map that Oxygen haven't played in NAL, so we don't know what we're expecting to see out of Oxygen here because of the playstyle, because of all the issues they've got, and also because they've not played this map publicly. There's no footage, no VODs, no nothing. For FaZe, it's probably just about turning up and playing their game, to be honest, and I'll say this a lot because you get a lot more out of analysing your own game, in my opinion. Making sure you're at the strongest position, especially when you've got 6 best of 1s in 3 days.
Well, if you guys are wondering exactly what we mean when we can't really give you any indication as to how Oxygen might be on this map, even if they were at full strength, they, since June the 1st, haven't played it at all, not to my records here, and they've only banned it 3 times, which means they're happy to go to Bank. They want to be rolling in the money, but no one else wants to take them there, and they themselves also don't get rid of it. So however these map bans are occurring game after game after game, it's somehow always excluding Bank from their play, and it means that they've been able to keep that one hidden, but at least they get to debut it here for us. And of course, as we have the players split up from Oxygen, it means that the lobby will be loaded in just a little bit slower, so it means that you're going to have to sit here and listen to our beautiful accents just a little bit longer. For those who don't know, I am not British. It's Australian. I don't want to get mixed up with you British folk.
You do go British from time to time, especially when we was in Paris. You have a tendency to pick up the accent and just, the odd word comes out British from you.
Really?
I think it's because you've just been, you've been all over the world, all over Europe recently as well.
Well, and I work with a lot of British people, so
you do.
You rub off of me and how, my sayings are, and yeah, unfortunately, yes, have to work with Des.
Yeah.
I don't get a choice there, do I? But I don't really want to make a prediction because I think it's unfair to do so in the current state of Oxygen, in the fact that they are not all together and they're missing Fox A. Do I think it's fair to turn around and, you're right, FaZe should absolutely roll Oxygen. It would be a great story if it was in the reverse, at least for the Oxygen North American fans. And me, myself, knowing that I am a huge Oxygen fan for a very, very long time, in fact, been following Laxing and Fox A for most of their career, this is a sad, sad day for me. But they can make light of this situation. They can make something out of it if they really try.
Pressure's off.
Yep.
My expectations of Oxygen coming in with a full roster is pressure is on. Because they go to these events and they seem to do okay, but then they don't go on. You don't see them winning events. You don't see them compete in finals, semi-finals of events. So at a full 5, I was like, this roster really needs to kick on in Sweden. Now they've obviously had this setback. They have no pressure. Nobody is expecting them to get out of groups. They can just turn up, play. They won't be happy with that, of course.
Absolutely.
But it means they can play with no pressure. And pressure does a very weird thing inside of the server. Some teams deal with it very well. Some teams don't deal with it very well. But when there's no pressure, people have the freedom and the confidence just to make plays. So, when Dizzle stepped in, you saw Aces jumping out of the armory window on Oregon with the yellow shotgun, remember, right?
That was historic.
And that's because there is no pressure, there's no expectations. You just do what you see, however you kind of feel like taking advantage of that situation. And that's potentially what we might see out of Laxing, out of Vertical.
All right, well, we're just waiting for a couple of more players, but whilst we wait for them, why not remind the viewers out there who are sitting there exactly what games are going on at each stream at the moment. And we got a brand new fancy graphic for y'all. Look at this. The graphic team's been working overtime to get us these beautiful assets for you guys to look at. On the stream you're currently watching and listening to us now is twitch.tv/rainbow6, and the games on your screen with the times next to them are accurate. We're on a fixed schedule here, ladies and gentlemen, so there won't be a possibility that you miss out on your favorite team if you put the corresponding time correctly in your calendar, and those times are in CET time. And of course, the season reveal will be at 7 p.m. CET on both of the streams. If some of your favorite teams are on the Bravo stream, you can go to twitch.tv/rainbow6bravo, and don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get your drops on both of these streams. That means that we'll be able to farm every single pack we damn want. In fact, I'm looking down at my tablet right now and I'm farming away. You farming yours?
I'm not. I have my notes up on my tablet.
You?
Yeah, I need to split screen it. How many channel points do you have, Jess?
I have currently, wait, I gotta get my bonus, 160,000. How many you got?
None.
What did you?
I'm so bad. I predict wrong all the time on my channel points.
You wasted all your channel points.
Yeah, I waste them. It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder for me. So,
wow.
Yeah, I've got no channel points. I need to start farming them again.
Are there predictions for each of these games throughout today? I haven't been checking because I like to sort of farm my channel points as well. I like to keep them in the bank. I know we're going to bank, pun very much intended, but I like to keep them in the safe. So I'm wondering if there's predictions. If there are, make sure that you use your channel points, because if you win, you get more channel points, and that's just generally how the whole prediction system works there, especially if you're watching on Twitch. If you're watching this later, sucks to be you. You should have been here live. You could have caught it at the exact moment that everything popped off. But if you are watching on Twitch, we appreciate you guys very, very much. One thing to note before we get our last players in here that we didn't already note, Fresh, is that for our very next game, for the very first time in your ears, we will be having Intero and Pengu debut on their very first cast together. And I tell you what, I'm getting goosebumps. You are too. I can see it as these beautiful, beautiful men make their debut together. Of course, this entire event could not have happened in the way that it has without the last few years, thanks to Michael Kickstar Stockley. All of these events from now and into the future will absolutely be in memory of the man that has created one of the best esports scenes I have had the pleasure of being part of. So, Kickstar, this is for you, my man, and to Pengu and Intero, I'm sure they're absolutely going to smash this one.
They absolutely will. And Pengu, you know, he's a former teammate of mine. And
yeah.
There was a very strange conversation I had with him about a week ago where he's asking me, he's like, do I know Siege at all? Like, he's nervous. He's been prepping so hard in the background.
Wow.
And I don't want to kind of reveal too much, but he has been putting in so much time and effort behind the scenes. He is the most decorated player in Siege history, we will say that. But also, he's not just resting on his laurels. He is doing the research. He is prepared for this event so much.
Well, one of the biggest names in Siege as well, decorated to the absolute brim. And I believe that there is no one better to be able to bring us some of these games throughout this event. Again, this is the group stage at the moment. So the next 3 days will be only best of ones. So for Oxygen, that may play well for them. For FaZe, that may play well for them. And for every team and every group throughout this group stage, they're hoping to place top 2 in their group, because if they don't, well, you get eliminated and you get sent home. You don't get to partake in the finals. And you and I do, however. We don't get sent home.
No.
Do you think if we don't make it top 2, we don't get to participate?
That would be very harsh.
That would be very harsh. This is your first major,
yeah.
so it's like sink or swim.
I'm really hoping, you know, but we'll see. We'll see.
We are on the water's edge.
Yeah.
You know what we could do? We could film some crazy content of us jumping. You know, I'd probably not do well in that water. It's cool.
So for the viewers, there is literally, is it a river behind us? Or
I think it's a river.
It's a river. And Sweden is very cold.
Let's cold.
It's very cold. There's ice on the floor.
Oh yeah, Fresh slipped over before. This man walks outside and slips over on the ice, and I had already warned him 6 times before, there's ice on the ground, Jack.
Funny story about that. So I have slipped over. I did break my iPad case, but I'm still having a better day than Dark Zero.
Ooh, well, with that one on the board, I think it's time to pass it over to 2 of the biggest and best that we've got for you right now. It's Pengu, it's Intero on their very first debut cast.
All right, everybody, let's get things underway with FaZe Clan versus OXG. A bit of a damper on the mood for Oxygen, Nick, because, well, they don't have Foxy, and this is something that's been talked about quite a lot. They're one of their primary shot callers, and I would argue their most prolific player that has been on this roster for so long. Well, he had a bit of an issue getting here. So they've got Hopes stepping in instead, and Hopes isn't exactly somebody who has a ton of experience playing at this level.
That's certainly true, Parker, but we've seen coaches in the past, and despite Hopes not being a coach but a manager, I think he might be able to step up to this.
I mean, you don't even have Redeemer here. He was a former pro. He's on the coaching side of things, and, well, I guess you got to go with it. And some teams find themselves in a unfavorable situation. IG later will be in the same spot, right? With them losing Hysterics and having Gig playing instead. FaZe Clan comes in as one of the best teams rated at this event. They just won the Copa Elite. They finished 2nd in BR6 in this stage. So what are the expectations for them knowing that we're going to Bank?
Honestly, Bang is a great map for them. I also think, just given the dynamics of them being down, or Oxygen being down a player, they can roam around this map, apply map pressure and presence, and give Oxygen a really hard time trying to clear it out, being down basically a whole gun. So what I want to see from FaZe, some aggression, some map extension, and toying a little bit with the fact that Oxygen are going to be a bit weaker.
This is also a map that doesn't appear all that often in North America. It's worth noting that NA tends to avoid Bank like the plague. If you haven't tuned in quite a while, well, Bank was one of the 3 maps that got a little bit of a touch-up, a different coat of paint put on it, along with Coastline and Clubhouse. Now, I think most people would argue Bank plays relatively similarly.
Similar, yeah.
But there are still some small stylistic changes. This was for a long time one of FaZe's historically best maps, and one of the best maps here in Latin America. So if you're OXG, knowing that you haven't really played this map much, what do you do to prep for this, especially given the situation with Foxy?
Honestly, given the situation, I don't think map for Oxygen is necessarily a bad pick. It's a map that someone like Hopes might be familiar with. It's not like super new. It's pretty straightforward. 1, 2, 3. You want to take the map control into the site setup, into the execute. So again, if FaZe doesn't do the aggressive roam, I think Oxygen has time to breathe. But that's exactly what I think FaZe should be doing. Do not give Oxygen any chance to catch their breath.
Think operator bans are gonna factor in here at all, or do you think we're gonna see the bog standard stuff that teams tend to ban out, likely a Valkyrie and OMI, or possibly even a Valkyrie and a Mira ban? Do you think there's gonna be any differences on the attackers' sides, or do you think these will be bog standard, maybe a hard breacher and Thatcher, or do you think maybe take out a Zofia or take out a Sledge?
I hope for Oxygen's side they keep the Nomads. They can kind of put them in boxes a little bit and control the map a little bit more. I do expect a Mira ban, a Thatcher ban, and a Valkyrie ban, but outside of that, I have no clue what to expect.
When you look at a player like Laxing on Oxygen, he does tend to play a little bit divorced of the team, but that relies on his good game sense and also the calling from the leadership of OXG.
Yeah.
Think there's going to be any change on his part now that FaZe isn't around? You think he'll be playing closer to the team? You think he'll try to frag more to make up for the deficit?
I think that's a great question, because do you try and make up the difference by doing your own thing and just going absolutely crazy on your own, or do you stick with the team and try and be the force that unfortunately FaZe couldn't be here? We'll have to find out, but honestly, I'm hoping for a bit of both. Maybe Laxing can be that defining factor for this situation for Oxygen and do it all.
The real question is from your experience, when somebody is down a player, what's the biggest thing that changes on a team? What should we expect from OXG and later Invictus because of the fact that they're down a player?
I think you need to go a little bit off the paper. It's very hard to implement someone into your paper and expect them to follow to the T. It's also very difficult to know exactly what to expect from said player, given that, especially in Hope's situation, you don't exactly know how comfortable he is in those gunfights. Thankfully, I haven't really been in their shoes. We've always had our players. We did have Atlantic City where Shotzi had to step out, Kento came in, but we got a formidable player in that position, so we could not complain.
Not that Hopes and Kanto are similar, of
Exactly.
course.
We were a bit luckier in that regard. No disrespect to Hopes, of course.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not a player. I can't speak to what it's like. But I mean, we've seen some impressive results when unpredictability has been thrown in. I know everybody will look back very fondly on that Fnatic match.
Oh, yeah.
I know that certain players here at this event, predominantly Troy, and those that were affiliated with EG might not be the most, excited to think back on it. But you think there's any unpredictability factor? Because Fnatic seem to catch that lightning, bottle that lightning, and take the fight to EG. Do you think there is any possibility whatsoever that either OXG or later on IG find themselves in a position where they could do that to a team? Or do you think it might be a bit of a mercy killing given the fact that, well, Hopes doesn't really have tons of experience at this level?
I think for IG it might be easier to find their aggression, seeing as they are, from APAC and there's more like in their blood, so to speak. Oxygen, I could definitely see it. I mean, Vertical's been on a tear in the NAL, getting an incredible rating of, I believe, 1.37, and in plain English, that's really good. I do think aggression is key here and maybe try and catch FaZe off guard, but it is Bank. How aggressive can you get without just extending yourself and being so far away from your teammates, missing that refragability?
I mean, you've got Oxygen prepping for a map that they don't play. You've got them doing so without their full roster. That is already a lot of work, and I mean, I wonder how much it affects your confidence. The players have known for a while on Oxygen that this was going to be the end result, right? That they wouldn't have FaZe, even though we were alerted to it just a day or so ago, the announcement coming out. OXG had to have been aware of this, and they still came here and they still seem like they're in good spirits. And frankly, for fans of North America, you want a strong Oxygen team. I mean, if you're a fan of Pro Rainbow Six at all, you want a strong Oxygen team because you don't want any blowouts. Sorry for those first two matches earlier today, but I hope that things maybe tighten up a little bit later on. If you're a team like FaZe, do you still go all out? Or do you maybe, and I ask you this as a former alumni of G2, do you maybe save some strats here, Nick?
Honestly, I think you give it your all in the gunfighting, in the map roaming, in the map control, and you show how dominant you are. But yeah, you might want to keep, the operator band's default, maybe keep the strats default, but now we get to see it, Parker.
Well, I mean, 26% of you believe that Oxygen has an opportunity to take this. That might be a little bit high. Do you know what's going on with the team? But we'll see. It's obviously not a cause for celebration if you're fans of Oxygen, but let's get underway with our matchup between FaZe Clan and OXG. Starting on Bank, Oxygen, by virtue of beginning this map on defense, They're going to be banning first and last, so we'll see what trouble they can get up to. Maybe throw in an odd ban to try to catch FaZe sleeping.
Some funky bans, maybe. We'll see. Oh, Thatcher. I mean, that's pretty standard.
That's as
you could
funky
expect
as
that.
it comes, right?
I will say for Oxygen, it might be nice to start on defense to kind of figure out like what's gonna go on, implement hopes into the game on an official stage match here, and then trying to take it from there. And of course, FaZe Clan, they're in the attack, but I think they're fully capable and fully confident in their abilities.
Absolutely. Next band coming up after this is a Hibana. All right, so I said, are we going to see anything a little bit different? The answer is no. It's a pretty resounding no. You've got Hibana up as well. This is a conversation that's happened since Bank was in the map pool, trying to defend down below. This was back when Maverick had actually just been released. This was before Ace, but trying to defend that bottom floor bomb site with the Hibana on the board is a major headache.
It's very difficult, but of course we do have the Heartbeats gadget. We call it the can opener, or I call it that. So maybe we can see some buck with the Heartbeats gadget to get those hatches, to get the vertical play, and therefore kind of replace the Hibana being away from the board. Of course, we see the Valkyrie ban coming out, followed by the Mirror. So I would say a very, very standard game of Rainbow Six Siege.
Literally the most banned operators that you would come to expect on this map. So nothing has really changed here. I think the point that you made about getting hopes to settle in will be an interesting one. They've already put him on the Vigil to start with, their 6th pick potential here. So maybe you just have him slot in. The rest of the team will play to their standard roles, maybe have him pick up some of the weight that's going to need to be carried with FaZe not here, especially in a position of leadership, and hopes will flourish in that role. Being that manager / coach, he's going to know the ins and outs of it. A Kaid is going to come out for this bottom floor, so those hatches will be a little bit trickier. There's no Hibana and no Thatcher as well, but that's okay. FaZe has brought cameraman on the Mav, so that will be quite deftly handled.
Certainly. I think it's pretty standard to go into the Kaid with the Hibana and the Thatcher ban, of course. As you said, cameraman on that Maverick will make work of those hatches, but it will ultimately delay time. Bach did get picked up by Cyber, but it did have the flashbang, so we do not see the Heartbeat schedule from him just yet. Curious what Astro is running here to see if maybe, just maybe, we'll get them out.
Well, you talked about leaving the Nomad up, and they do indeed keep it, but not going to be showing off just yet. Instead, if you want any of that anti-flank that's going to come out, that is a spot is going to be occupied by none other than Astro on the Zero. Sam Fisher, for those of you that watch. And some teams will run the Zero and the Nomad almost interchangeably. We tend to see it a lot on a map like Chalet, and it'll be interesting to see its application here on Bank. Wasting no time whatsoever. If you want to tackle the bottom floor, you have to clear out that middle floor first, and that's exactly what FaZe is going to do. 2 can openers in the hands of Astro. He's running Super Astro, by the way, so you were correct talking about those can openers being available.
Yeah, I think it's a great choice here. You know, you get the flashbangs on Bach, you still get the can opener on Astro here, and of course, Astro can hold down the flanks. You got the cameras. It's not quite the Nomad charge, but it will do the same trick, the same job. It is essentially just map control and map presence.
Tons of hard breach potential too. Look at that. You've got Maverick, you've got Thermite, you've got 2 can openers, and that's a secondary gadget that tends to get slept on quite a lot.
It did get buffed. There's now 2 charges per, but as you see there, Laxing doing what he does best in that elevator park. That is an iconic first kill, but gets traded back out by Astro. It's a 1-for-1 trade, 4 versus 4 left on the board, but Oxygen, they want more.
And Astro could be lined up for it. Yaga almost tempting that engagement, but he thinks otherwise. Vertical still roaming, and this map control for OXG on that first floor is strong. FaZe need to pick them off. Laxing likes to play on his own. This was a question that you and I had. Down goes Vertical, and it's the Thermite fragging well. So FaZe takes a lead here in the numbers, and they also managed to get some of those hatches open up on the main floor.
Yeah, FaZe doing great work finding both the map control, the breaching, and the kills. And of course, iconic was Laxing that elevator, but Souls playing Thermite, getting a frag in the opening round is also crucial. He is basically the Brid of Latim. He does the planting, the clutching, the killing, but he also plays a support / heartbreach role, and he does a phenomenal job at it every single time.
Understanding that they're at a deficit now with just a little bit over a minute to go here in the first round. OXG playing aggressively off of these hatches. FaZe know what they need to do, and they can drop whenever they'd like. Still opening up this main floor. That's exactly what needs to happen, but maybe a bit of a brief pause. Kino has not been flushed out of blue stairs yet. Instead, he'll take the engagement, heading up. He hears the gunfire and knows there's one around the corner. Flashed out, he'll retreat. Souls takes down Hopes, and Kino has no chance. Cyber a nice kill, leaving Yaga alone. OXG finds himself in a 1v4. A relatively hopeless situation, and it doesn't get any better. Cyber, the final kill of the round, and FaZe take the first.
Hopeless, it did look a little bit there, Parker. As you said, we had the early aggression from Oxygen with the roam. It got shut down. And then we have this awkward Kino's aggressive on the server stairs, but you also have the Rooney deep on the side kind of vibing. You don't have a smoke to another plant. So your win condition's kind of up in the air. Are you playing for the bomb site deny? Are you playing for the roam game? They didn't really fully commit to either one.
Yeah. Laxing in particular, like we said, on his own, this was textbook Laxing, and it was a question that needed to be answered, and it still might change. I highly doubt, now that he's 6-picking onto the Echo, Nick, that he's going to be roaming all that aggressively. But, I mean, was it not your team that had a semi-roaming Echo in what was dubbed Kanto spot, playing by the double panels upstairs by the elevators? So, who knows? And that's exactly the bomb site that Oxygen is going to go to up top on the main floor.
Yeah, I mean, the Kanto spot, that's where Yaga is reinforcing right now, is quite a phenomenal one. You should typically play there with like a 1.5x or a 2-point scope. You can sit there with a shield facing towards the long hallway, towards stock and top square, and you're pretty comfortable there. A great spot for Echo, great for the gun, great for the gadget. You can get some information and play off that information. You only do have one shield, though, from the side of Oxygen, so you don't have a whole lot of cover.
Let's see where Yaga puts it. Still in the pocket as sight setup is going on. This is where the changes to bank might be coming in a little handy, but we'll see. There wasn't a ton of things that were moved around here.
Attacker's objective is to locate
No,
a
it
bomb
plays out pretty much the same. Typically, you have the option of going on the top square side and attacking that side, or you can go on the lobby side. Of course, FaZe is bringing the box, so you could even argue they have a third option, doing some vertical play from down below, which we all love to see, and maybe making work of that window repels on the side.
There's one of the changes as well being shown off is just that very narrow alleyway that leads towards the back of the bank, so you can get from the front to the back without having to cross the entire map. Just a bit of a convenience for the attackers. FaZe favoring the same lineup that they brought before, no changes to it whatsoever. Tons of hard breach potential, explosives in tow, and that very first SAM cam, or the Argus as it's officially known as, gets some pretty crucial intel playing over by Banana that a single player of OXG is lurking in that spot.
Yeah, this is great. The nice thing about the Argus camera is that you can put them in positions where the drones typically cannot get, and if they do end up there, it's a lot of trouble, it takes up a lot of time. You whip out the gadget, you shoot the gun, and all of a sudden you get great information. Get some chip damage on the Yogg, he swings out and gets some information, but also takes some health. He'll be fine.
You trade about 30% of your HP for some knowledge that somebody's out on that rappel, something you already knew. The other thing, too, with those Argus is that, well, the open area of bank, lobby as it's called, not to be confused with the actual call-out called open area, but the lobby of bank is huge. And I mean, it doesn't matter what level you play at, if there's a black eye cam, if there is some kind of drone left there, there's a lot of spots where you can hide it, and that intel is so critical.
It's very hard to find. It's one of the reasons why the Valkyrie gets banned so much. The open area and, of course, the lobby as well. But they're planting all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Hold on a second here. And Astro's just in, killing them all. He goes down to Yaga. Hopes falls as well. Diffuser successful, and FaZe and the post plant are marvelous. Everybody dying, and Laxing is nowhere near the site to be able to influence this at all. A 1v4, identical to what they saw in the previous round. He'll go toe-to-toe with the Buck. A great shot, but there's 3 more to find, and you know how pesky these post plants can be, especially when you're out on rappel like Souls is. 2-0 for FaZe.
It is so incredibly difficult to win that post plant. Once the bomb goes down successfully, you got those window repels, the breach, you got so many angles to worry about. They could even go down below and make use of that Bok vertical play. And this is the thing. FaZe, they play a, let's say, quote-unquote European approach to Siege, but with that LATAM explosiveness. If they see an opportunity, if they want to stray off the plan and just execute out of nowhere, they will go for it. We've seen it before in Clubhouse against Team 1 in the Copa D Elite, and we've seen it now against Oxygen on Bank.
They kept the Buck up in square as well, right? So they could have put him down
had
below.
the opportunity, yeah.
Absolutely, and there was so much time left. That diffuser started to get planted when there were still all 10 players up in the server, and it's really remarkable to think with the intel that OXG had that they weren't aware of that diffuser being planted. Now, there was some smoke applied over by the desk in the rear panel, so maybe there was confusion on OXG's side. And the other thing to note is that just simply bringing in Hopes is going to change the way that this team calls the rounds.
Certainly. There was also the question of you know, what exactly is going on? If FaZe is playing it slow, all of a sudden they just go, you might be thinking, that smoke, it might not really mean anything. It might just be like ADS clear perhaps or something like that. What do you know? All of a sudden they're planting, they're inside, they're finding kills, and the only thing you will hear from the side of Oxygen is, oh my god, something's going on. They're planting, we're dying, where are they coming from? Because it seemed like FaZe was everywhere at the same time.
Well, I mean, they're not really slowing down, and if they're not trying, they're certainly not convincing us of that. So they look like they're out for blood, and I mean, if it's like the first 2 matches, our debut here might be a little bit short-lived, so we'll see.
I don't want to say anything about North America, Parker, but we're having a rough beginning here. However, one thing to note, Hopes this time is sticking the Vigil, not going to the Kaid, so perhaps this time they are convincingly sticking to that roam game and holding their ground.
The jig is up, though. Obviously, that cloaking going off inside of open area. Astro has
This
him.
camera. Beautiful.
Really nicely done. The drone positioned by the books, and Hopes will go back on, but then obscured for a second. Over by the printer window is where Astro will lay outside. He can tempt an engagement with Hopes should he want. The bomb site, for those that can't see, is down below. This was long known as the most defendable bomb site, but as the meta in Bank shifted over the years, I think it's safe to say that the most defendable bomb site became the top floor, and then very quickly followed by tellers down below. Cameraman has made his way inside of the lobby, confronting that castle barricade on double panel, and then the reinforcement over by office as well. He's going to now go onto a drone and sit down and wait. Hopes still unable to be flushed out, but he's still on drone, and Bullet will get the very first engagement on vertical.
It seems like Astro is just sitting on this drone waiting for Hopes to rotate away from open air to get inside the building, but as that's going on, Cyber finds a kill to Yogg on the main stairs, and now Hopes in a massive amount of trouble here. Gotta fight multiple angles as they're making their way to open area.
Laxing was doing his best to keep his team in tow. Hopes looks the wrong way, thinking he's down by Printer. He's by window. Astro and Easy confirm, and then Kino's down too.
Is it 1v4 again, Parker? Is that it? Another 1v4?
That seems to be the story, Nick, doesn't it?
Yep.
The top of your screen will say 2v4 or 4v2, but it's the other way around. Laxing manages to do something, though, so a 1v4 won't happen. It was a 1v3 with him in the same position in the previous round. I'm starting to sense a pattern.
There could be a bit of hope in this round though, Parker. Look at Astro's health, Bullet almost halfway down as well. Souls, however, pretty healthy here. I imagine FaZe Clan will slow down a bit, gather up their spirits, figure out where Laxing is and what he's doing, and then go for an execute.
I admire your optimism, Nick, but I don't know what Laxing is going to be capable of doing when there's still a minute left and so much utility for FaZe. And they're going to open up that hatch leading into server. Down Bullet goes into blue, being droned out quite effectively. The back of Laxing will be exposed, but he's being watched by that bulletproof camera, and a pre-fire over towards server doesn't find anything. On the run now, playing under this hatch with a laser gate for some added insurance. I don't know about the Roni there in that position. Astro manages to find him and tag him. Down he goes inside a red. 3-0 for FaZe Clan, and the point I was going to make about the Roni is that you don't have a lot of bullets in that magazine.
You don't have a lot of bullets. As a smoke main, I feel the pain. You know, that is the lowest amount of ammo capacity SMG in the game, sitting on 16. Laxing in that situation would have to find the 1 versus 1s. FaZe Clan doing a great job going together. All 3 people in server didn't even put a guy on the hatch. They wanted all the guns in the same direction to make sure that if Laxing were to swing, they would have comrades there to get the refrag of the trade.
I think the scoreboard right on your screen tells a pretty convincing story.
Laxing is doing his job though. He's up top.
I mean, he is, but what do you do at this point? And the knock-on effect of losing a player like Foxe is that, yeah, Laxing plays on his own, and we pointed this out, largely aided by his own game sense and good mechanical ability. So for those that watch the NAL quite religiously, you'll know that Laxing tends to take up a lot of, pardon the pun, oxygen when discussing this team because he makes the flashy plays. And he's an integral component of the team. But Vertical has been the standout performer for OXG in the past stage. He is quiet right now. He hasn't been successful and has actually lost the 2 heads-up gun duels that he was engaged in. You can speak from experience when you say that engaging in heads-up gun duels against Brazilian teams
it's hard.
Is very challenging.
It's very hard, especially if you don't have, you know, the massive amount of experience against them. FaZe Clan, you know, it's a team that we've seen so many times in international events, but they've always fallen a bit short. I'm very curious to see how they'll do this tournament. And speaking of Oxygen, I kind of wish they put Hopes on like an Echo to just do the dirty duty of just finding information, communicating that to his team, and let other people do the fragging on the gunfighting.
I think the one argument that you could say against that, though, is that you don't want to upend the entire team chemistry, right?
You don't, right? You don't want to change up too many things in this wheel. Hopes does have a shield in his pocket, it seems like, so I'm not sure what that's about, but maybe they have a spare one for a situation that might be unfolding here.
I don't know. Laxing, has he gone droned out in the corner? The drone is facing the other way, over towards Paper, and Cyber might have a bit of a blind spot. He's too focused on the Aruni. There goes Laxing! Huge two-piece, and he'll head for the hills. Camera should be able to catch him, but some damage done, and there you go. A bit of obstruction, but ultimately FaZe gets the refrag on that one. Huge play from Laxing, but there go all but one of your kills so far in this game.
It's very true, and you actually spoke about this change to the map earlier, Parker, with that route from back alley into the main lobby side, and that's actually how Souls managed to find Laxing as he was running away, cutting off that angle. And yeah, it's your Astro off the board, you lose a lot of information game, and you lose the vertical play. And this bomb site, Parker, that's the vertical play. They're trying to take top floor, work their way from above and down, and now that's no longer an option for them.
Souls with 4 kills. He was one of the players that you highlighted earlier in the match about how he does it all. The Bride, as you said, of Latin America. And Souls has actually been around for quite a while, and it's nice to see him flourish on this team. FaZe in particular, the team never really living up to the billing, and so many times winning and saluting a nice throw from Bullet, takes out vertical, he's blown sky high. That was another player to watch. But OXG are struggling in this one. They're on one of the best maps for FaZe, one of the best maps for all of Brazil, in fact. Shield's been deployed by Hopes, so there's a barricade, and he's actually got 2, so his flank being watched.
I mean, that was arguably the most explosive performance from Vertical right there. That was the nade blowing him to pieces, but Bullet finds an injury onto Hopes. He got caught off guard, unfortunately, and he might be joining Vertical on that 0-4 scoreline. I really hope they start getting going for them, Parker, because the time is running out for them. Oxygen might be looking at a 4-0 zone unless they can clutch it out. Hopes did get revived, so it's a 3 versus 3.
The shield by the door now taken out, blown open area. Hopes does not have the same defense behind him. Bullet finds a 3rd kill. This is a huge round for him. What little was left of Hopes is now gone. Hopeless, would you call it? Yaga creeping up the stairs. He's got the DMR in hand, falls cameraman. Still looking at position and pre-firing around the bomb chassis, but Souls is very well protected. Why not? He's already got a kill in this round. Might as well get some extra points, pad those stats. Yaga knows he's in a retake, but Bullet's watching him. Down he goes, and FaZe are up 4-0.
You can make fun of Oxygen all you want, Parker, but that was a 3 versus 1. They're improving round by round. They're slowly getting to the 3v1, the 2v1, the 1v1, and eventually, maybe on the final round, they will pull a Dark Zero and make it a 7-1 rather than a 7-0.
That's the real question here for NA fans. We can take the piss quite easily here with them. Will a team playing with their coach from North America perform better than Dark Zero did in the match before? Who knows? That's the real question.
Yeah, and as you said, that was also on Bang, so maybe North American Bang, as you said, Parker, maybe they're just not the match that you want to have. Of course, you can't play every single map, but the question comes, if Bang isn't your flavor, why is it on the menu?
I'm not entirely certain. At this point, I think OXG, going back to CEO, I mean, their site rotation has
They're trying everything, Parker.
Yeah.
They really are. They want to figure out something, and they're saying that's not working, and every single time they played basement twice, for example, they did a different style of basement roam both times. The first time was 50-50, the other time was a full roam commit. So I'm sure they have ideas. Now they bought the Warden out for the smoke grenade, so Hopes might just be the player to watch this round if the execute comes out from FaZe the same way as before.
I mean, it's so easy to talk so much about Hopes here, and our focus has been so firmly on Oxygen because obviously the circumstances under which they're playing need to be discussed and really highlighted. You know, FaZe Clan is showing up as we expect, and, well, they're the FaZe Clan that won Copa Elite. They're the FaZe Clan that finished 2nd place in the most recent stage of BR6. This is the strong performance that we're expecting out of them.
Yeah, they were very aggressive and kind of unstructured team in the past, but since Cameraman joined, I believe in March of this year, he's really been restructuring the internals of the team, and they're now, as I mentioned earlier, in this like European-ish approach to the game with the structure and execution, but with that Latin explosive twist that we love to see.
Obviously, interesting to say Cameraman rejoining, because you and I remember the fun days of when he was on that old roster, way back, Font and onwards, getting reunited with Astro, so... Well, this is round number 5. Things looking grim for Oxygen at the moment. Cyber inside of Archives, and he'll go on to drone work. They've stashed them all throughout the map. FaZe have been doing an exemplary job of putting their drones in sneaky positions, and OXG seems to be simply under watch at all times. They have no idea where this intel is, and it is costing them and hurting them hard in most of these gunfights.
Yeah, OXG is not really extending out the map. As you see, they're pretty much all on site or maybe a room away at most, meaning that FaZe can get so much control in such little of time, giving them everything they need to set up how they want to execute this round.
I don't even know if FaZe really cares about the roam from OXG, because the first couple rounds, if you recall, FaZe were very quick to get into the building and begin taking that map control away. In this instance, the first joust might come down to Hopes, as he's playing over by Stock. He's got that long angle towards square stairs, and they'll send an army of drones at him, but he will fall off. Has to be wary of the skylight above him on those stairs, because you can be gunned down if somebody is in that position. With 90 seconds left in the round, it's not a guarantee that everybody's moved off. There could still be somebody up there watching.
Oh, Laxing doing the 90 thing again in the elevator. Using those ignorance and lobby we spoke about earlier, a massive room. It's hard to find them, especially since you're not playing the IQ, which is so hard to fit in your lineup. FaZe closing on side.
And there's an Argus that's going to go in to take care of this moon jammer. That's going to give you safe passage towards the double panel, and out it will go, blowing all the debris wide open into that CEO office. This is a spot that FaZe favored on their previous take. A minute to go for them to be able to pull off a defuse. Souls will be the one to try to get that, and we'll see what the coverage is from FaZe. The good news for OXG is that you haven't really lost anything at this point. Kino almost drops, but that's about it. Yaga engaging in main lobby. He's got the pings, but nobody from FaZe is going to dare him just yet. Still on Repel as, well, there's damage to be done, and now Cyber's just going to jump right in. Do they hear him? Yes or no? Oh, he looks away at the wrong moment. First kill goes to Vertical, but then FaZe's guns come alive. He's down to just a tiny bit of HP, Vertical is, and there's, well, firing back from OXG. Vertical still fragging well. It's a 2v2. This is the most winnable round for OXG just yet. Is there hope for them to be able to pull this one off? Inside of the bomb site, down goes Yaga, and Vertical soon follows. The hope dashed, and it's 5-0 for FaZe.
We are closing in. It's looking better and better, Park, but they need a little bit more. They had the right idea. They wanted to get rid of Astro inside of ATM to pressure those Rappo players onto side, and they did actually find the kill, but it was too little too late, as FaZe Clan were basically executing onto side when that same thing happened. Cyber dropping down the skylight, initiating the push. FaZe from all angles, the breach, the rappels, the skylight, really crushed Oxygen in this round.
Cyber in particular getting the attention with that drop. Sound and comms then start to go. Yep. Somebody dropped Skylight, you have to turn and try to pivot. And yet despite that, Oxygen were still able to hit their marks, keeping it very close. And that was, despite the scoreline, that was the most winnable round that we've seen from Oxygen thus far. Final defense for OXG. They're not going to take a timeout. I'd be very surprised. Their coach that they have here is actually playing in the game. And the site rotation remains relatively static.
I don't think you want to take a timeout if you're Oxygen per se. Maybe if you go on to attack on the side swap, you want to take, guys, let's freshen up, talk about, do we just go for it? Do we just do our best? Like, do we follow the paper? Do we go off it? This time, it's not going to be a roaming strat for Oxygen, it looks like. It'll be a turtle. They got the smoke this time. They got the Womai to help cover them from the grenades. And they have, well, a single C4, so it's not the most amount of bomb site plant deny, but we got a little bit.
It is a bit surprising to see the way now with all the operators that have come in since Bank was a staple of the map pool. I fondly remember the days of 2, 3, 4 C4s being brought on this bomb site because the rhythm of CCTV was such that you want to get somebody in, you want them to try to plant by the door, maybe a Monty's being used, maybe smokes, you've got some coverage with one of the panels opened up, but no, that's not the case. You also saw one of the other changes made to Bank just now in that back portion of well, I guess technically you call it the bomb site by elevators, which allows the attackers a bit more flexibility and also the defenders to play off of it too.
Actually, you're going to do a pretty basic server stairs hold with both the Womai discs and the ADSs. That's going to be a crucial part of this round, especially seeing as it's Kino and the smoke playing there, meaning that if he falls, it's the smoke's gone and they get complete server control essentially. So FaZe Clan will have to challenge eventually in this round, but they'll take their time and check the elevator as they have against Laxing, because it's been there a couple of times already. Nothing crazy going on so far, but FaZe Clan doing good work of the droning and the map control, and only in a minute into the round, they seem to have everything that they want.
There's a grenade that goes off on the stairs as well, but nothing found for it. This lineup from FaZe remaining static for the entirety of this half. They favor it, and well, it's been working out quite successfully. 5-0 for them. Kino still trying to find that very first kill, and there goes the hatch, just leading over top of red. 1 of 2 inside of open area. The other one is going to go now. Technically not an open area, but close enough. A thermite being placed ever so gingerly by Souls, and Kino with what essentially is a barricade inside of blue. He's got a shield, he had the laser gate, he had all the You get all the discs and the ADSs, and
Soul's doing a good job playing on that Kite Claw, making sure that he's not getting tricked out, so putting it down, putting it back up, and Vertical with the opening kill against Astro. That's gonna help them a bit as Oxygen are, there's still a lot of time left in the round. They need to find some wiggle room, find some kills, get more guns on the map than the FaZe of FaZe Clan.
amazingly, this first half now being finished in terms of opening duels. Oxygen took 4 of the 6 opening duels, but they lose it through the mid to late round, and it's just FaZe is too formidable. Down goes Hopes. That first half will go without him securing a single kill. Kino tossing out smokes. He's playing to die essentially in this spot, and down he goes. Cyber just tussling around the deployable shield. That leaves the final 2 members of OXG inside of the bomb site, and Vertical knows what he needs to do. He and Yaga both 3 kills apiece. Pivoting and watching, Argus cam goes, and Vertical will now watch that same hatch. Yaga lined up at the doorway. A grenade primed and ready, there it goes. Try to displace somebody from Oxygen, but nobody in that area code. Final 30 seconds for things to continue to blow up. And there it goes. Damage being done to Souls and Bullet now too. OXG hitting their marks, but no, there's a flank from Cyber. How does that go unseen? Vertical will need to shut it down. Bullet with diffuser in hand, but where does Vertical's attention go? He sees the tracers whiz by him, but he's gonna take the engagement, finish off Souls. Diffuser goes down successfully. Vertical chunking some damage, and it's a perfect first half for FaZe as they're up 6-0.
Oh, so close, Parker. For a moment there, I believe, but the back flank from Cyber, I believe they used a Kite Claw on those back hatches, so they assumed it was going to be A-okay and not have to worry about it. But the thing is, FaZe Clan managed to get those hatches open, and Cyber took full advantage. He's been the engager and the flanker throughout this round. First the Skylight drop, now the backside hatch drop, and really setting FaZe up for success, getting the pinch in, the hammer and the anvil. One guy pushing, one guy holding, finding the kills onto side. Doing so beautifully. Side swap.
I was going to say, we side swap, but Bullet, an astounding 10-0 to start this matchup.
Huge.
There is a possibility now that, depending on what happens with the Roamers and OXG's entry, that Bullet could go this entire map without dying. Now, wouldn't that be something to see? I actually couldn't tell you the last time that a player in a major, and this is a stat for you, SiegeGG, if you're listening, I can't remember the last time a player at a major went through a map or match without a single death. So, shout out to Bullet for accomplishing it thus far. Crossing your fingers whether you're a LATAM fan or not, just because it is a neat thing to see.
It certainly is. I'm curious how FaZe is going to play this. They are extending out the reinforcements right now. Typically, we'll see Bullet and Cypher doing a bit of a roam game. They're a very, very lethal duo with a bunch of kills between them, and they love playing together no matter what map they're playing on. So I would imagine we're going to see something similar out from this. Deny some early drones, stop Oxygen from taking what they want in a similar fashion to where Oxygen failed to kind of stop FaZe from taking the map control.
Downstairs to CCTV, this is the most played bomb site thus far. 4 times through the 7 rounds. Well, almost 7 rounds, technically, because this one still has to be played. But 4 of 7 so far for CCTV. Things seem to be coming back to normal. Nature is healing, Nick, when it comes to
Nature is healing, yeah. The pulse from FaZe is interesting here. It kind of speaks to that information game with the Valkyrie being banned, and it's a bit more mobile than the Echo is, if you will. See if they can make work of that. Cameraman being in garage, not a lot of information to be found there just yet, but making sure that no one is sneaking in. Laxing.
Oh, okay. Kino's just going to take charge, looking for his very first kill, but he'll be chunked away by Cyber playing inside of Janitor, and Cyber will re-engage.
Look at this aggression, Parker.
In front of him. Oh my goodness, but the Roni has how many bullets? It doesn't matter, sidearm out.
Enough.
Hopes gets his very first kill. Kino on 1 HP, but you've still lost Yaga. You've lost the ace. You've got a hard breacher in Maverick and presumably the can opener for Laxing. So there's still some added insurance for OXG, but that is a pretty devastating loss, especially with Kino on 1 HP.
I mean, imagine if the Roni had more bullets, Parker. I mean, it's not like the patch just came out and just nerfed the weapon. Kino being left on 1 point of health, and Cyber almost came out with a fantastic opening for his team, but I would say 1 for 1 is still good.
Does he win that with the Commando? That's the real question.
That is the real question. The Commando does have a pretty nice skin on it. That TSM pilot program skin in store still, I believe, so do check that out if possible.
Oh, we won't be seeing TSM here, sadly. Womp womp. But if you want to see their skin, you can do that. Both FaZe and OXG have skins in the game as well. They were shown off earlier on, the FaZe Clan Valkyrie skin. You've also got the G36C for OXG. Now, that Maverick taking care of the Kaided hatches. The first one inside of Square, that'll be dropping down into server.
Yep.
Speaking of Cyber earlier on, you said he was making space as that sledge. It now looks like Vertical's going to be the one doing the same thing for Oxygen as he decides to head through Dirt Tunnel or escape, however you want to call it.
It's a great play, and FaZe Clan not really holding servers. They get it for free. Getting this information for Oxygen will save them so much time, because if you thought they're going to be in there, now you know they're not.
Well, FaZe Clan got the first blood, and now they have a numbers advantage as well. Kino is only on 1 HP. He sits at 0 and 7. He has no kills if this round goes in the way of FaZe. Well, you've got a donut still remaining for OXG. FaZe deep inside of the bomb site, and OXG will now have to tussle with the clock as there's 30 seconds left in the round. Down in numbers, but additionally down in terms of time. Grenade sails out, but it goes off a little bit too prematurely, and Astro can't control the recoil of the carbine. So what can he accomplish? Some of the wall opened up, but hopes, and unfortunately for him, not much he can do. Taking down Souls is pretty good, but Vertical's been dropped as well. Guns coming out. Laxing is in the middle of the bomb site. He needs to sprint on by, but with 3 seconds left, he needs 2 kills. They won't do it. It's a 7-0, and Bullet doesn't die once. What a statement match from FaZe, and it's a fast one. NA not off to a great start here so far in Sweden.
They certainly are, and we asked the question, will FaZe Clan give it their all and take it away from Oxygen? Will they go easy on them and give them a bit of a breather? They did not. They kept them on their toes the entire map. Cyber roaming that final round, you know, that's the butter on the bread. Beautifully done. He did only get 1 kill, almost got 2 on Kino, but it played beautifully into it.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's a real statement match. Latin America right now is kind of, I want to say, upside down. We don't really know what's going on with LATAM. Liquid failed to qualify. Historically, one of the strongest teams here, and they've had a really impressive run, you know, finishing second at SI, making a deep run in Mexico. Yeah. NIP winning SI, but then having a pretty poor performance after that. Team 1 really surprising everybody, but FaZe Clan came in as the unknown. Did they benefit, and I hate to say this, but did FaZe Clan benefit from the fact that NIP and Team 1 were already qualified and didn't need to show anything? Yeah. That's something that's going to be answered over the next couple days, but with a match like this, FaZe are looking to, as I said, make a statement, and I think so far it's been made.
Yeah, there's quite a few teams, Parker, that were qualified early on throughout the regular season, meaning that they can hide strats, they can take it easy, and FaZe, they are what I would call the dark horse of this tournament. I think it's hard to put them on a list, like, are they going to do top 4, top 8, are they going to go to the finals? They've shown an incredible performance so far, but we speak about Oxygen, we speak about hopes, but it wasn't just hopes that was the weak link in this match. Oxygen is a core, the fundamentals, the strategy. It wasn't really clicking super well, Parker. No, and I mean, that's what I said. It's a knock-on effect, right? You lose one person, everybody else is not going to be playing at their best for a number of reasons. Certainly. So Oxygen obviously have some more work to be done. What can they do over the rest of the tournament? We don't really know. That's something that they're going to have to sort out. FaZe, hell of a match from them, but that was us in the books for our very first cast together. We're all done, and there's a break ready for you. Don't touch your browser. We'll be back in just a moment. What does it take to create the future of a gaming community? Join us on this 4th episode of I Call Next as we discover how to level up gameplay and reset the expectations of an entire league. PayPal, press play.
Easy going right there. One more to go.
Welcome back to the desk at the Rainbow Six Sweden Major. You're back with Jesgoat and Fresh, one of the dynamic duos here at the Six Major. And the biggest thing for us to point out there, as expected, unfortunately a bit of a steamroll considering the circumstances. NA not doing too hot.
NA not doing too hot. And
Yeah.
have you ever been to a cash machine, Jess?
Do you mean like an ATM?
An ATM, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've been into an ATM. Where are you going?
Do they ever give you any money for free in an ATM? No.
I mean, I've never been that lucky. I'm sure there are.
NA are giving out 3 points on bank, no less. It's going on. Do you know, NA so far,
Yeah.
2 games on bank,
Yep.
1 round out of 15. 1 round. Now, I'm going to give Oxygen a pass. I'm more
Okay.
dunking on Dark Zero
Thank
here,
you.
obviously. It was rough for Oxygen.
It was
We
really
were wondering whether FaZe were going to turn up and play,
Yeah.
or whether they were going to, show them a little bit of respect and play and be ruthless, and that is exactly what FaZe did.
They did not pull any punches in that match whatsoever. I think that was a statement from FaZe to say, we're here to play. And even Ace and I spoke last night, one of our other talent here, our commentators, and he said, people don't realize that FaZe is a force to be reckoned with, and they will absolutely show that here at the Major. Map number 1 for FaZe, tick. You can tick that box off and say that they've come into this and shown that they are here to play.
Yeah.
How they're going to do in their group, I'm not quite sure just yet. It's only been 1 map. But what they've showed here on Bank is that maybe this is a map you shouldn't take them to.
Yeah, we said it was their number 1
It
map
is.
preference. They love this map. They want to go to this map as much as possible. So you have to wonder for Oxygen why they chose to allow this through.
We did
In the map
question that in the
vetoes,
pre-desk, didn't we?
It was a big struggle for them. And they're playing with obviously extenuating circumstances, but it was still a big struggle, and potentially would they have been better on another map against FaZe? FaZe were just absolutely incredible. One thing for Oxygen, obviously Hope's had a rough day. He's a coach, he's allowed the pass.
Absolutely.
Kino didn't turn up. And in this kind of 4v5 scenario, all 4 of those regular players have to turn up and have to be gunning.
Which is unusual, because for those of you who maybe don't even tune into NA, or those of you who do, you'll know Kino to be one of the best rookies coming out of the region in recent times. So for him to jump into this game, and whilst they might not be full force, it's unusual for him not to show up inside the server. So a bit of a shaky start here, not just for Oxygen as a team,
Yeah.
but of course for the region of North America. Just to remind you guys, as we said before, DZ lost their game, smashing 7-1 on the other stream. And on this stream right now, Bank is giving the money to the Latin American teams so far. We'll see whether or not that continues. For me so far, I'm going to have to sit quietly on FaZe just for a little bit. It's only been 1 map, and it's only been against a weakened Oxygen.
It's very hard to gauge just how good FaZe will be, because they're against a team that is playing with a coach.
Yep.
And you will, you'll see it there. Hope's 14% cost, Kino 29% cost, low kills. Laxing did his best. It's fair to say he put in a decent performance.
Yes.
He did his best. He was out the windows. He was trying to get big plays to win rounds. But FaZe, just absolutely incredible from them. It was a thorough professional performance, and that's what I liked about it. They didn't let rounds slip. They still got the diffuser down,
Yeah.
and they were able to win it out 7-0.
They didn't try and take advantage of the situation in front of them, I feel.
Yeah.
I think they played their game and they just let that speak for itself. Speaking for yourself is Bullet, who put a fair amount of bullets in the head of Oxygen today. He has a perfect 12 KD with 100% cost. This is going to be one of the highest ratings for today without a doubt, and it's pretty easy to get when your opponents unfortunately aren't shooting back at you. So Bullet, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially in the ratings at the end of the day. You guys can check Siege GG, who will be following the 6 Sweden Major with us, and you can hear Blue in the background screaming excitedly about the other stream that we have. If you want to see what the games are over there, you can go to twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. But for now, we are on the main channel. Unfortunately, in front of your screen is a big fat 7-0. One thing that I didn't want to be saying on the group stage.
Yeah, and I think for Oxygen, their expectations have been retailored.
They have.
But they would have been wanting to not be 7-0'd, so they'll still be very disappointed with that performance, regardless of the tailored expectation. For FaZe, I said this before, they are dark horses for this tournament. There are teams that will not want to play FaZe because they are just so flexible, they are so aggressive, everybody can turn up, and they've got that experience in abundance.
Well, I did say that when I last saw them play, their attacks were frightening in the way that they used the Capitao. And now with the 2 hard breach gadgets that Capitao gets, I mean, we haven't seen enough from FaZe yet for me to know what the full breadth of their strategy is. So we can't really give you a full deep micro analysis just yet. But there is still another game for FaZe today. So do go check the schedule out at R6 Esports. You can find it everywhere on all of our Rainbow Six Esports. But something a little bit more important as the games progress throughout the day is the standings. I'm sorry for the spoilers that will occur as us bringing up these standings will do, because both of the streams are showing different results. FaZe currently sitting at the top of their group. And that's because they were able to snag a very quick 7-0. And of course, we will see whether or not Chiefs is able to win their game in their group at the moment, going up against Rogue. I heard it was kind of close when we left. I can't say anything.
No spoilers. We agreed there are no spoilers. But it sounds very exciting because we can hear Hap and Fluke in the background going mental half of the time. So it sounds like it's a very exciting one. That one also on Bank. We've had 3 Bank games out of 4 today.
Wow, what a popular map. I mean, for those who don't know, it was taken out of the map pool probably just after I left competitive play.
It was after SI20.
There you go. So that was where I had my first analyst desk experience on the full international stage that I was, and just like you're doing right here next to me now. So that was the time they took Bank out of the map pool. They reworked it a little bit, made it nice, and gave it a few sort of reworks throughout the map. Nothing crazy. They put it back in, and well, it turns out teams are loving what they're doing with it.
Yeah, internationally as well. We've seen it a lot in Europe, but we hadn't necessarily seen it across the regions.
Sure.
So it's come to this tournament internationally, and teams are still wanting to play it. It's a good sign, and they were good changes made to Bank.
Well, that's the standings as they exist. Of course, only a few teams have played so far, so the standings look a little bare. And of course, you'll see the points: 3 for an outright win, 2 for an overtime win, and then 1 for an overtime loss. Thank you very much. I struggle at counting. I got my accountant, my beautiful accountant man next to me who can supposedly count to 3 so that we guys can keep you in the loop. I believe, however, it's probably important as we progress throughout the day to remind the viewers exactly what the schedule is. And of course, right now you're hearing us on twitch.tv/Rainbow6. That is called the A stream. Just so you know, we have 2 streams running throughout the next 3 days. If you want to see your team on the B stream, you can go to twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. And at 7 p.m. we will have the season reveal panel. So please do not miss that. That will expose every dirty little detail that the upcoming season will have for us. But for now, we're up to the 2nd game, or rather the 3rd, now that was a very quick one, and it will be BDS versus Sonic's Nest, and that is going to be such an amazing, amazing game. I cannot wait. Before we go to a break, I want your prediction. Who wins that game?
BDS.
I mean, we're EU shills, guys. We're not going to be shy about it, are we?
No.
Everyone has to know. EU shills on the desk. We'll try and leave our bias out of the analytics because the analytics don't tell any bias ever. When we come back, we'll bring you guys a little bit more in depth about both of those teams, exactly who we think will win.